Am I wrong for telling my aunt's new husband I don't care what he thinks about my adoption? I'm 16 male, adopted, and I love my parents and I wouldn't change our family for anything. I was adopted as an infant via an agency. My parents used to write my birth parents once a year, which was something they agreed on. But I have zero interest in ever having a relationship with my birth parents. It's complicated, but basically when I was 10 they wanted me back. Apparently they had tried to get their family and friends to take me and raise me and give me back when I fit in with their plan, and nobody wanted to do it. So they decided to give me up for adoption and chose my parents and asked for an open adoption, which meant once a year updates. I actually had to meet them because my birth father tried to pull a I didn't know he existed until now to try and force custody to change. But my parents had the proof that both of their signatures were on the papers. They had met my birth father and my birth mother when she was pregnant with me, and he also had access to their letters. After my parents won, the letters stopped, and I knew I'd want to know those people. Our extended family know what we went through, and this includes my aunt's new husband. They met 3 years ago and got married last year. At first I thought he was fine. But he used to ask me a lot of questions about being adopted and did I want to know my real parents, and he'd keep saying real parents even after I told him my adoptive parents are my real parents. So he rubbed me the wrong way after that. Then after he married my aunt, he started giving his opinion on my adoption. He said my parents were selfish for buying a kid. Why didn't they foster and become a guardian for kids who needed help and leave babies for their real parents? He said I should feel like an item they bought and not their kid. He said he didn't understand my close relationship with them, and he didn't understand why I hadn't wanted to be with my real family when they came for me. I told him before to mind his own business, but he told me I needed to stop living in denial. On Sunday we were celebrating my grandpa's birthday, and my aunt's husband talked about these adoptee advocates online and how their stories are something everyone should hear and they should be listened to. He said he really aligned with them, and he said he thought they'd be good for me to listen to. That they'd help me work out my trauma, and how he thought it would be good for me. I lost my temper and yelled how I didn't care what his opinion was of my adoption and how sick I was that he didn't accept my real parents were sitting at the table and were not the people who made me. My parents didn't know what he'd been saying except for one comment that he apologized to them for and said he misspoke. My aunt did. The rest of the family didn't. Most of them were quiet, but Grandpa told my aunt's husband he shouldn't speak about things that weren't his concern. My parents were pissed next to me because aunt's husband rolled his eyes at what I said. I told them and my grandparents everything he'd been saying and that my aunt had known. She told me I shouldn't speak to adults the way I spoke to her husband, and her and my dad fought. My grandparents made the husband leave. My aunt said I'd blown things out of proportion and should just apologize. My parents told me they were sorry I'd been dealing with it and said in future I should just tell them instead of trying to get my aunt to deal with it. AITA for snapping at him?